Welcome everybody. We're doing a session today about building welcoming, inclusive community representation in parent carer forums. And I'm just going to try and move my slide on, which is not happening. So we know it's important to all forums to be representative and engage their communities. For most forums, that's a continuous journey. But we're thinking today about how forums do this and what it means for the forum and its communities. And we've got together with a few forums to share some examples, which you'll probably be watching this on our YouTube account. So I'm going to hand over to Paolo to introduce the first example. Thank you.
Hi everyone, and thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Paolo Boldrini, and the engagement coordinator with the Brighton Hove Parent Carer Council, or PAC, P-A-C-C. So as I've been with the forum for about 10 years now. In September it would be 10 years, and part of my job is to run Coffee Morning, but also go out and reach out to different community who are not engaged or are less heard in terms of the additional needs and disability in a city. So the example I'm going to use today is it comes from 2017, so it's a few years ago. Of course, during the pandemic, our engagement changed forms, everything was online, but at that point we were still meeting people face to face. So back in 2017, we did a bit of an evaluation of which groups our forum was in touch with and which one were missing. So we realized that there was a quite big travelers community, which is located on a permanent site on the outskirts of Brighton. And so we also knew that there were some families with children with additional needs and disability who were part of that community, and they felt quite isolated. So we start thinking about how to reach out that community. And the same year, the local clinical commissioning group, which is part of an NHS, came out with a small pot of funding for lots of community groups to actually do engagement. So we thought, hey, win-win. So we applied for the small pot of funding, we got the funding, and then we start thinking how to reach out to the travelers community. Brighton is a small city, as a town, so there are communities that are in touch with each other, and we realized that in the same building where we are, there was a community that is called Friends and Families and Travelers, which is stand on FFT, and it's a national organization actually based in Brighton that they support travelers, Gypsy and Roma across the country. So we made contact with them, we explained what happened, we've got the funding, we want to reach out to the community. And so we had a couple of meetings with the engagement coordinator from the Friends and Family of Travelers. And we realized that actually, instead of going to the community to talk about children with additional needs and disability, it was better to focus on actually the parent and the fact that they were struggling with benefits and supporting, being a carer. So we as a parent carer forum, we work with family, we got children from 0 to 25. We also reached out to the carer centre in Brighton that they work with carers of 25 to 100 years old. So we were basically three community. One was facilitating the travelers engagement because they work with them. One was us, that we work with 0 to 25, and then another one was the carer centre, was 25 plus. So we organized to go there for the first meeting, a very informal meeting. We went to the traveler site, And it was just about literally meeting families. And at that point, I thought that, I'm going to bring some of our flyers. And back in 2017, we had a flyer that it wasn't really rich on text, but it had some text. It had a picture on the front and some text on the background. So I wonder if we can share it. So that is the pack flyer. If we can share on screen. Shall I carry on talking?
Yeah, you can keep talking. Sarah's going to get it up to show people now.
Can you see that?
Not yet.
Okay, hang on.
I mean, I could, yeah, no, I can't share it. Shall I carry on talking?
Yeah, you can explain the differences in the flyers if you want.
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's
I
showing.
took the flyer we were using to reach out the community, not realizing that the travelers, yeah, that is the flyer, and we can see, so that is the front with a picture, and then at the back, if we can scroll it down, there is some basic information what the Parent Care Council does. So I took that flyer with me to give out to the different families I was meeting at, but actually I didn't realize that a lot of the travelers, Gypsy and Roma community, they prefer information that are actually not based on written language. And I didn't realize that, and I should have probably looked into it. We should probably had more meeting with the friends and families of travelers to organize this going out to the community. So maybe I would definitely eventually find out that actually taking a flyer like this to that community will not really be successful because, again, the community prefer a much more visual flyer. So anyway, the first meeting went well. We met some of the families, and then we plan to come back again to have a proper workshop session where we go to talk about to the family about all the benefits and support that is available from us and from other organizations in the city. So when we come back in office after the first meeting, I met actually with the coordinator from the Friends and Family Travelers, and I say, look, I need to redesign my flyer. And basically, we redesigned the flyer, which then was sent to the community, and the community come back with some suggestions. So the one you're going to see now is the final version that we took to for our workshop. And now you can see on the front cover, they just picture, which they say quite a lot. Each picture says something. Each picture say, for example, disability. Each picture say looking after yourself. But also, very importantly, it's got a logo of a cartwheel, which is the logo that the travelers community recognize. So at the front, they had different pictures, and then at the back had a very, very basic information, very visual, on what support you can get. So instead of having a lot of text, we just say, numbers, and we say very brief, like which kind of carer you are, the benefits, and then if you go scroll at the bottom, it's got the telephone numbers that that people could call, and of course it's got that we help with disability benefits. We also manage the free Compass discount card. So it's much more visual, much simpler. How much I got left?
Okay, we're not holding you to a strict time. I guess what would be interesting to know is what happened as a result of your flyers and everything. Did you get some contacts with the families?
So yeah, so we then took this flyer, which was agreed by the community, but also by the coordinator of the community. We did when we did the workshop, and it was really good for us to have the coordinator supporting us during the workshop as well. And yes, we did, and it was very interesting because we thought that the community was quite isolated in terms of supporting each other, but actually found out that there were a couple of families that had they had a couple of children with more complex disabilities, that they knew a little bit more about the support available in the city, and they were actually supporting other families. So they had this informal network of support, and it was really, really, it was very emotional, but really warming to think about, you know, the way you see the community from outside, but actually when you go, the gatekeeper allowed you in and meeting the family, then you think, oh God, you know, there's a lot of support going on within the community. We made some contacts, and some of our members are now travelers, you know, some of our new members. And we were trying to get one of the most experienced parent carer as a part of our committee. So our forum is run by a committee, we call a steering group. And we really wanted a traveler to be part of that committee. We still not able to do that because I think it's quite demanding, but we definitely made a contact with the community. But also for us was really to learn the fact that if you do any outreach to any community, if you haven't got a member of the community within your steering group of your committee, do get in touch with the community that organized with the organization that organized that community, and ask them, first of all, for permission, but also for help on how to reach that community better. So having a flyer that is suitable to that specific community, you know, in this case is visual. It could be like you need to translate your flyer in other situation, but also the fact that by working with the organization, we went there for the first time in a very informal meeting. So we met the community, we met some of the families got to know us. So when we went back for the second meeting, there were already that link being made. So we had a flyer that was much more readable for that community, but also we made that connection. So yes, I would say those were the two learning points from us.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. And amazing that you've got some members and just the learning there. And I think as well, it makes it feel less daunting when you describe reaching out like that, because it isn't that everybody needs every knowledge of every community, that actually you can go out and ask. You can ask and you can link with those community groups that are already there, which is obviously what you did. So thanks so much for sharing that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think another thing is keep an eye, I mean, the forum, to keep an eye for small pot of fundings that have come out your way. And, you know, because we are actually working with some community groups that, you know, we need to reach out. So we got that experience that can then be applied to other communities. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I think we agreed that Nosheen from Swindon, that you might get, and Amina's here too. Yep. You might share your example next. Thank you. And thank you, Sarah, for doing the sharing of the screen there. Hi, Nosheen.
Hi. So my name is Nosheen Ali. I'm from Swindon Send Families Voice. I'm the Participation Engagement Coordinator. So we've been working very hard over the past year and a bit to try and engage with our communities who we knew actually needed help. So we actually do send information packs every year, which are aimed at nurseries with lots of information about contact, about send, a soft toy, just providing that support for the parent that they need. We recently got in touch with families that had came over from Ukraine, and there was a few families there who had children with SEND, so we actually provided some packs to the families. Our main thing we've actually been doing is actually going out to coffee mornings in schools. In our last quarter, we went out to 26 schools and reached out to 226 parents, which is our biggest achievement, because we all within the team feel so passionate about helping these parents. We managed to get into a school where there was a lot of SEND needs, and there was also languages. English was not a first language. We managed to meet 10 parents there, but again, it was setting our foot in the door, trying to talk to those families, trying to connect to those parents that there is support out there, and connecting them with other things that we do. We've also been out to Swindon Domestic Abuse, where again, there was families we send because of the situation or because of home life. They weren't able to recognise the SEND need or provide the support that they needed. We've also been out to a Mayor's charity event where, again, we actually linked with the community, the Asian community. We spoke to the police, we spoke to community leaders, with MPs, and again, just making awareness that having a SEND need, that there is support in Swindon, and reaching out to us. Our next project is actually going to be we're actually working on languages, leaflets in different languages, so we can actually reach out to those parents, because sometimes when they don't speak English, they don't understand. They might recognize this as in need, but they don't recognize that, okay, I do need to actually connect with somebody else. So we're actually working at the moment for getting our leaflets in different languages, so they can actually read the basic and say, okay, this is what SSFE is about, and trying to connect to us as well. Amina, do you want to join in?
Hi, I'm Amina and I work alongside Nosheen, Swindon SEND's Family Voice. So yeah, everything that Nosheen has said, and the other seldom heard group that we've reached out to is the African community. So we went out to a few of their religious events that we went along to, and initially we thought it would be quite difficult to be able to connect, but in many countries, kind of children with SEND are very much seen and not heard. And so for Nosheen and I, we really want to be able to try and change that a little bit. And the African community was a little bit like that. We were very much welcomed. We had a few of the members that had children with SEND that weren't aware there was help out there. We managed to connect with them and be able to have them a little bit more on board. And again, we've gone out to schools that have got quite ethnic populated. There's quite a lot of different ethnic backgrounds at these schools, and again, we've been able to connect along with them. But something that, as Nosheen said, something that we did find was we had a lot of families that English wasn't their first language. So these leaflets that are being translated currently should be a massive help in being able to make sure that everybody knows what kind of help is out there and how we can help help them to access it. And future plans really are just to try and get in as many different schools and as many different places as we can. We're currently connecting with the local mosques to see if we can come in and do some talks to the Muslim community and just be able to get SEND out there and a lot more accepted really, and just to let all these different ethnic backgrounds know that there is support out there, that this is the way to access it and how they can.
And also, one thing, Amina's, we've also actually started a Stay and Play, which is Amina's. Do you want to carry on that one?
So our SEND Stay and Play is for children 0 to 5 if you're bringing your child along, but the only requirement is that you are a SEND parent. The child that's under 5 doesn't need to be the child that has SEND. However, we have connected again with lots of different ethnic backgrounds. We had a lovely Ukrainian family that were really struggling. The child, again, her first language wasn't English, so she was struggling to be able to kind of be heard, and she was somewhat non-verbal, and again, bless them, the parents were really struggling, so we were able to put support in for them and be able to get her into a school placement just with being able to support. But she came along to our SEND Stay and Play, and we have children from all over that attend, and it's just a nice chilled coffee afternoon, morning, just where the children can connect, the children can play, but actually it's a massive support for parents and for us to be able to just signpost and just make sure that the families have got the support that they need. We're running those twice a month, the first and the third Thursday of each month. and that's the Meadow in Pen Hill in Swindon.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I just wanted to check for people that might be watching forums that might not be doing all of that quite yet. Does Swindon get other funding as well? Because doing things like that on the DFE grant alone is obviously quite challenging. And doing a lot of what you're doing sounds like helping people to actually access and know about the support that's already there, which then links you in with their experiences and things, so that you've got that wider voice for your forum strategic role. But yes, do you tap into other funding as a forum?
We got like I think Paolo said, I think we did get some funding, a little minute funding for the participation engagement a few years ago. The council actually matched some of the DFE funding, and that's it. But we obviously try to utilize the funding as much as we can for these areas, because we've always felt that the Asian or there are so many areas that there is a need. And because we come from these backgrounds ourselves, we know what it's like. Children have a need, but they just haven't got the courage to take that first step out, because families might just think there's nothing there. Or so we try to utilize our funding as much as we can for everything we can. But I think me and Amina are willing to go anywhere and everywhere for free if we have to. The main thing is reaching out to our families and actually making sure that they know that we're there, because once they've made that connection, they can actually come to our coffee mornings, our stay and play, our branches. So it's not just about SSFE. There's so many things that are connected with us. So just trying to make that connection with them is our main thing. That's what we all work for.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sorry, Kate. We also work alongside, and we have lots of other professionals come along to our meetings, things like mental health professionals. We have mental health professionals that come out. We have Health Watch that come to our meetings. We have the carer company, Swindon Carers, come out, and so to be able to get these people, to get these families support in just from the first meeting that they come to. Just as much as we possibly can. Swindon Carers have got so much that they will do, and they'll support.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. That's wonderful. Shall we move on to Hend, if you're there? Is everything working for you?
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's working so far. Well, hard to follow those two amazing models, but I'll try my best. So I'm Hend Rahman. I work for Make It Happen at the Parent Care Forum in Westminster. Westminster is a very diverse local authorities, a very diverse borough. So we have big number of different language spoken, people from different backgrounds, big Arabic, Bangladeshi, and East Asian communities, but you would also find, honestly, from all around the world, people in Westminster. We and in Make It Happen, when I joined, was already a very diverse group. There are people from different backgrounds. So it was, I think we had no big motive to think about improving this model and focusing on it. I found that we had some flyers that parents were not really benefiting from, because my native language is not English. So when I read some of those flyers in different languages, I thought, that's very bad translation. It's very poor, and we were not really focused on this until we started to have discussion. We obviously didn't have funding for it or anything, but I was very aware that I worked for the local authority. I was on the dark side at some point, but I'm here now. So I worked for the local authority. I know that there are some communities like Soham, Piccadilly. You have that big Mandarin speakers who I don't see in the forum. I see some Bangladeshi parents, some Black parents, some Arabic parents, but where are this society, this cohort that we're missing on? And I was trying to find recruit volunteers on this, and I was very lucky that the team was already very diverse. So whichever the language, I need a parent to translate for me. There is free interpreting from our volunteers. But when we started working on that equal treatment, I think, project that really opened our minds and opened our eyes that no, there is an area for improvement. There is a lot that can be done. At that point, we've already started a group for Bangladeshi speakers. And that was very, very important and eye-opening model experience for us, because we had this amazing family support worker who's one of our parents that speaks the language. And because we have lots of funding, we have some funding from the local authority, but we had no specific funding about improving that point and that area. So we kind of us for partnership from other charities and other organizations that were having funding for this. So we had the IS, the Independent Advice Service, SENDIESCO in some other local authorities, and they had some funding for engaging the Bangladeshi community and asked for our help. We were happy to give our time and expertise, and then when that funding finished, they kind of pulled out of this project, but it landed in the Parent Carer Forums. So we felt like I don't speak the language, and it was a challenge for me. So how am I going to manage it? But I was so lucky with this amazing worker of ours who was saying, I'm happy to run it. It's only once a month. And during that time, it was amazing. I was just there offering people tea and coffee and biscuits. I don't know what they're saying, but I honestly enjoyed being there with the parents. You see them laughing and you see them crying, and you feel like, oh, they feel comfortable. They feel that they can share and they're learning from each other. And then we thought maybe we can find speakers who speak the language. Remember, we don't have money. So we found that there are some Bangladeshi speakers in the short breaks team, so social services side, someone from IS who started that project, from other services, people who can come for free. And that worked very well, that parents started to ask each other to come and join. There's that speaker who will be speaking. So it's all run in their language. And that encourages to think about other language as well. So we're running one in Arabic now, and I contacted CAMS and other services. If you know of a member of your team who speaks the language and is happy to join us, this is going to be no English. This is going to be only language run, a session run in that language. And we found a doctor, a nurse, and we found a few people who are excited actually about supporting their communities, which is absolutely fantastic thing to find, especially those, I'm talking about everything that people are doing for free. So it's really exciting, and it's increasing our engagement. Parents are saying how they can communicate a little bit of English, some can't at all, but they're saying how different it is, this experience to them, to just sit there and just not having this half of your intellectual abilities busy about the translation and interpreting, and you're just saying your feelings and you're talking about it and listening from someone who can speak your language. So it was very, very interesting and amazing for us. But that made me think again about the flyers that I've dismissed totally in 2015 when I joined the forum, because it costs so much money and it's causing you can't get the interpreting right. But as we've built that amazing team of volunteers who are also doctors and teachers, our vice chair is Cinco. So I'm very lucky. I should not claim any of that, as they all doing it by themselves. They're fantastic. So I thought this would be good, that we can start translating flyers and ask people. So very, very much what Paulo is saying is asking people from those communities, how do you feel about this flyer? How does this language come across? How does the language used in this flyer come across? So that is something we are working on for the different language. We never thought about using, we have our regular surveys, we never thought about using this part of your ethnicity, because we worried that parents or some people, and I've heard it when I was in my professional life or personal life, people say like, why do people want to know my ethnicity? Maybe they want to discriminate against me. But obviously we know now, after we started using it, after being engaged in the equal treatment, that it did make us think, we don't have enough Somali community, and we know that there are bigger numbers than who are involved with us. And this is an absolutely amazing community. I love working with them. They're very, very caring. They love their children so much, but sometimes that makes them feel like, oh, I don't have time to engage with other things. So it was something that we can do by reaching out to them. We had, I'm trying to think, there's so much, it's a long journey, and I need to summarize it, but it's mainly about really, I think when we had big number of Afghani refugees joining us in the Dubai Borough, and we had our share in Westminster, it was brilliant that we already had volunteers and people who can translate. We were very aware of obviously asking, being very careful about, do you want other families from your background to be engaged with you? This is the option, this is the name. Would you be happy with this? Obviously, the volunteer is happy for their name to be shared, because those are people coming from, especially our Afghani and Ukrainian families. We need to be very tactful, very careful about who we link them with, because maybe people are not ready yet to engage with someone they think they might know them from back home. I think the main thing that is the outcome that we see most, obviously the increasing numbers for our membership. I have to say, when I joined, it was mostly, it was a taboo around the forum of, you're not engaging enough white working parents. And obviously from my work in Westminster, I know that maybe this is a cohort that will not reach out to services because they have their services provided privately. But that, obviously that can be for any cohort, but all this work and outreach work helped us reach all different groups and all different cohorts, which was an amazing success. But also that meant that the ICP got in touch with us, because we have been getting more aware of things that our communities are suffering from and struggling with. We were told that you are more likely to be told your child speech and language delay is blamed on having another language spoken at home. We sought advice from speech and language therapists who said that's not scientific, that's not true. So when we went back to the ICP and our designated clinical officer, they said we would like to hear more about this. So this is more work that we're working with them. We have a big project as well with the Westminster Health Watch. They came to our forum last week. We run a forum meeting every week, couple every week actually. So it's very busy around here, but that means we can see more of people who English is not their first language and might see the forum as their first point of contact. I think I should stop here. I can go more, I can say more things, but I don't want to overwhelm.
No, that is amazing. Thank you. I just wanted to ask you, because what seems to have made a massive difference for you with the translation especially is being able to make those connections with people like the doctors who are willing to sort of help you. What do you think? How did you get them to do that? What's your trick?
It's who you know, Kate. As I think,
Yes.
I think it's we are very lucky. We have a good connection with all services, with the either local authority or We have good co-production in Westminster. That meant that when I thought about this, oh, maybe we can have speakers in that language, I knew who to email. I wasn't having big hopes about how they would get back to me, but it was lucky I had a reply on the same day saying, I'm linking you with this health professional who might be interested. Same with the social services. Oh, we have that that social worker who also speaks that language. So we thought this is brilliant, because you wanted like I said, the different language forum groups were already success and nice, but I wanted parents to feel that they've learned something and they've got something and they are not missing out, because we, like I said, we have every Tuesday for the south of the borough and every Thursday for the north of the borough with topics. So we have speech and language therapist, we have someone from healthcare or education. So they are really missing out if they don't speak English, because they can't understand what's happening. If they attend the meetings, they can be sitting next to another parent who will translate a little bit to them, but it's not the same as having a speaker who speaks their language. So that went very well.
Yeah, and I bet that really increases your reach and your reputation in your community, and must be pretty sound if you're able to do things like that. But just for all the forums watching, you've been working for a long time and done a lot of different things. So, you know, if you're at the start of your journey and you can just do a little something, you know, within that is okay. It's breaking it down into small, you know, you've had this success over time, hasn't it? But it's breaking it down into small manageable chunks to gradually build. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think because when I joined, there was already a team of volunteers and parents who know the forum and speak other language. But I think if any forum wants to start, a starting point would be maybe find a volunteer who speaks a different language, who speak the language of the community you want to target. That to me, when I started, was Mandarin and Cantonese. I wanted someone speak one of those two languages. And obviously we are parent carers. I have a son who's turned 17 now, and trust me, I am that busy. I was very busy at home.
Yeah.
So it's you will need to understand how this parent will not commit forever, and especially what challenges that we faced is I've introduced someone to Kate because they speak their language and they feel like, oh, stay with me, I'll call you every half an hour, and we want to make that so you reassure the volunteer that there will be boundaries. You will be offered this email that we will forward things to you. You can only make calls through the with no caller ID, all these sort of things to protect the volunteer, and you don't want them to be burned out and leave.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. That's some really good tips there. Thank you, Hend.
Right.
No, it's been absolutely amazing hearing from you all. And just for anybody watching, I was going to share my screen just with our email address in, because there's probably people out there that either might want some support or they might want to share their examples, which I think that's what we'd like to do. I think we'd like to build up on our YouTube account, or maybe even podcasts, some more examples from forums to share, and so that forums can link in with each other and hear different stories really and experiences. So I'll just share my last slide, because it's got that got those details on it, and I just want to say a big thank you to you all really for coming on and doing this. And I have got a yeah, it's coming. Can you see that slide? Yeah. So that's just there for anybody watching. You probably already know the email address. We'd love to hear from you if you've got some examples to share. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a bit about your journey, and actually sharing the learning and the imperfect nature of this work is probably quite important. If you want to develop your reach and you're thinking about it, you can take a look at our diversity and inclusion toolkit, and you can get in touch with us as well in case we can help or make some connections with you. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop sharing now. And yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything, Sarah, but thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Just huge thanks. I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been sitting and listening to the stories of what you've all done and how you've reached different communities. It's just been so awe-inspiring, especially when you've got very little money sort of going on, or even if you have found a pocket of money. I know, I sort of completely understand the hard slog that you put in to make it so successful. So amazing, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you.
Oh.
You've been